Welcome to all our friends for the webinar today. We'll just wait a minute or so. काफी सारे हमारे दोस्त लोग अभी भी सेशन ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, तो हम लोग 1-2 मिनट रुकते हैं and then we'll start with the session. Yeah, without wasting any further time, let's get started with today's session. तो आज का सेशन is basically about understanding the context of the market. Markets का structure कैसा है? What are the factors that you should be tracking if you are a trader in the market? If you are an investor, आपको कौन से सब factors को track करना चाहिए on a regular basis? That is what today's market is. And if you are a trader from a trading perspective, we have a very interesting concept which is known as relative strength. तो उसके बारे में भी हम लोग डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे. व्हाट इज मेंट बाय रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ, मार्केट ब्रेथ क्या है, एंड हाउ टू अंडरस्टैंड द मार्केट ब्रेथ. And once you understand the market breadth and relative strength, which are the sectors that you should generally be trading in, how to identify outperforming sectors, all that is what we are going to discuss in today's session. So let's go one by one. So first we'll take the introductory, understanding the context of the market. See, these are the main things a global, even a global fund manager would track. These are basic things, but they are extremely important. So the first and foremost is, if you see, you track the bond yields, US Treasury yields, you track the dollar index, then you see the Brent crude prices. These are all the main macro factors which have a bearing on the equity markets. It's not just our equity markets, सारे equity markets the world over have an impact of these crucial factors. And on a regular basis you should just have at the back of your mind, तो आपको मालूम रहना चाहिए कि डॉलर इंडेक्स कौन से लेवल पे ट्रेड कर रहा है, यूएस बॉन्ड डील्स क्या कर रहे हैं, ग्लोबल द फंड फ्लो जो है, it all depends on all these factors. Because for the Indian equity markets to rally, it is not just domestic funds which are necessary. We clearly require the funds of global investors as well to drive the markets. So if you track the dollar index, there has been a gradual rally in the dollar index. तो डॉलर इंडेक्स जो लगभग 96 तक आया था around a month back, has now gradually moved towards the levels of 9900. So that's where the dollar index currently is facing a bit of resistance. If we sustain above the mark of 100, we should see an extension towards 101.5, 102 levels. And a strengthening dollar is generally slightly negative towards the emerging markets. And we have seen a bit of pressure, if you see, off late in the past few trading sessions. Coming to the 10-year bond yields, see, bond yields बहुत important है. This is like the most important asset class. Bonds have a significant impact on the equity markets as well. And there is news that now we have in this week itself US का Fed meet है, which is scheduled on Wednesday. And उसका impact जो है हमारे markets पे Thursday के trading session पे आएगा. And there is a good chance that the Fed in the current meeting may cut interest rates, which would lead to a surge in the bond. See, interest yields and bond yields are inverse. So whenever there is a cut in interest, the older 10-year bond yields generally tend to spike up. And that also is important to track, because this is one asset class the world over investors put their money in, and it's a safe asset class. It is backed by the US government, and that's why there is so much weightage which is associated with the US 10-year bond yields. Along with that, we have to track the crude oil prices as well. Crude oil prices have been favorable towards the Indian markets. अगर किसी ने भी क्रूड ऑयल के प्राइसेस ट्रैक किए, लास्ट 3-4 महीने से क्रूड का प्राइसेस लगातार गिरते ही आ रहा है, एंड वी हैड सीन इन when there was a bit of tension in the Middle East, that time the crude oil prices had spiked to almost $76 a barrel, and from there we have corrected now closer towards $62-63 a barrel. So that's where Brent crude prices are. And from almost 2 to 3 months, Brent crude prices are in this level itself. So that's why it has a positive impact on all the companies which have a direct correlation with the crude oil prices, जैसे कि पेंट के कंपनीज, केमिकल कंपनीज, टायर के कंपनीज, ये सब कंपनीज को क्रूड ऑयल के प्राइसेस से बेनिफिट होता है. इवन द लॉजिस्टिक कंपनीज, समथिंग लाइक अ VRL लॉजिस्टिक, all these companies have direct benefit from. Is definitely a benefit for the Indian economy as well, because we are still importers of crude oil in dollar terms. So that is a positive for us. And the main thing is, if you correlate all of this, then you have to see where the markets are doing, how it is doing. This time, however, we are seeing is a disconnect between the frontline index and the broader market. We'll discuss in detail in the slides when we discuss the small cap and the mid cap index. But clearly, anyone who has been tracking the market will know that there is a clear disconnect between the frontline index, that is Nifty, and how the small cap index has performed over the last 2 to 3 weeks. So first, let's just track before coming to our markets. Just let's have a quick look how the global markets have been performing. अगर अगर देखा जाए एशिया के दूसरे इंडाइसेस जो है, जैसे कि हैंगसेंग, निकाय, कॉस्पी, ये सारे इंडाइसेस में एक अच्छा खासा रैली देखने को मिला है, स्पेशली कॉस्पी एंड दैट इज शंघाई कॉम्पोजिट एंड द हैंगसेंग, इवन द निकाय, ये सारे इंडाइसेस दे हैव बेनिफिटेड फ्रॉम द एआई बूम. एंड सेमीकंडक्टर्स भी, अगर कोरिया की भी बात करें, दे आर मेजर प्लेयर्स इन द सेमीकंडक्टर मार्केट. So Kospi over there is one of the best performing index in the last 12 months or so, which is followed by the Hang Seng, which is almost up 30-34%. And in comparison to that, we are among one of the worst performing indices in the last 12 months. So अगर 2025 की बात करें, you can clearly see जो पर्पल कलर का लाइन है, that is our markets. In comparison to the global markets like the US indices, the rest of the major Asian markets, we have clearly underperformed during this current leg of the rally. It is important to understand where the money flow has gone, why it has gone to the rest of the major Asian markets. So one major reason, like I've been telling you, the current AI rally which we are seeing, that is artificial intelligence led boom rally in the global equity markets, clearly we have been left out. There is no second thoughts about it. दूसरे एशियन मार्केट्स, जो बहुत सारे कंपनीज जो which are primarily participating in the AI boom are from Korea, are from Japan, are from China. These companies have benefited because they are the frontline players in the chip making semiconductor space, and clearly we do not have any major companies which are of a global size which are participating in this particular segment of the market. Most of the companies, IT based companies in our market, are service based companies. They definitely will benefit from the AI boom, but that is the second order derivative. Matlab, once the AI technology is implemented, they will also implement it, and then they will get the benefit. But we do not have any major company till now which is actually producing chips or semiconductors on a large scale level. So that is one of the major reasons why we have not participated, or 2025 has been more or less an extremely flat year for the Indian equity markets. Within the Indian equity markets, if we see which are the sectors which are outperforming, to a large extent, it is the auto space which has done good. Then we have banking, which has done good. Banking and auto are the two main indices which have propelled the markets during the current leg of the rally. both the indices hit a fresh lifetime high. And along with this, a bit of the oil and gas space as well, mainly to do with Reliance Industries, which witnessed decent move. But one sector which clearly underperformed for a large part of 2025 is the IT space. So Nifty IT, last 2 3 weeks we are seeing a bit of pullback. This mainly to do with the hopes of a fresh rate cut in the US markets as well. Generally, when we have seen that IT stocks tend to do good whenever there is expectation of a rate cut. And लास्ट 3 वीक्स हमने देखा है कि इंडियन आईटी स्टॉक्स में भी एक अच्छा पुल बैक आया एंड वी आर सीइंग द लाइक्स ऑफ इन्फोसिस, टेक महिंद्रा, एचसीएल टेक, ये सारे काउंटर्स में एक अच्छा मूव देखने को मिला है. बट ओवरऑल अगर देखा जाए लास्ट 8 to 10 months में दे हैव क्लियरली अंडर परफॉर्म टू अ लार्ज एक्सटेंट. सो बैक ऑफ द माइंड यू शुड नो कि अगर निफ्टी को इधर से फ्रेश लाइफ टाइम हाई मारना है, विच आर द सेक्टर्स विच आर गोइंग टू प्रोपेल द मार्केट्स ऑन द अपसाइड, कौन से सेक्टर का वेटेज कितना है. सो क्लियरली अगर बैंकिंग और फाइनेंशियल्स का फोकस किया जाए, दैट हैज सिग्निफिकेंट वेटेज ऑफ ऑलमोस्ट 33-34% विद इन निफ्टी. ऑटो का भी अच्छा खासा वेटेज है. देन वी हैव ऑयल एंड गैस विच हैज अ हाई वेटेज. These are the three main sectors which have actually taken the markets towards fresh lifetime high. तो December 1st को we had hit a fresh lifetime high, that is 26,300. उसके बाद ऑलमोस्ट एक 400 पॉइंट का एक पुल बैक करेक्शन देखने को मिला है मार्केट्स में. दैट्स मेनली टू डू विद अ बिट ऑफ प्रॉफिट बुकिंग विच हैज कम अबाउट. एंड स्मॉल कैप इंडाइसेस में तो काफी अच्छा खासा प्रॉफिट बुकिंग देखने को मिला है. So this is a very good indication. This is a slightly old chart, but you can clearly see the inverse correlationship जो मैं बता रहा था डॉलर इंडेक्स और हमारे मार्केट्स का. So whenever the dollar index has done good, we have seen that our markets have gone into a bit of a correction phase. And whenever the dollar index has witnessed a correction, emerging markets, including us, have done pretty well. So during the current phase of the market, we are seeing a bit of this is a slightly old chart, but I just wanted to clearly show you the correlation, that inverse correlation which exists between the dollar index and our markets. Now coming to the current chart structure of Nifty, ये आज का ही चार्ट है निफ्टी का. So you can see Nifty trading closer towards 25,920-930. जब भी मैंने ये स्लाइड बनाया था, we were trading closer towards 25,930 levels. We got a closing closer towards 25,960-970 going into the close. But clearly there was an extremely sharp sell-off which was seen today, and the sell-off mainly in the mid-cap and the small-cap space. See, Nifty still is just about 400 points away, lifetime high say, and 400 points is just 1.5% for Nifty. 250 points means 1% currently now for the index, and we are just about 400 points away from the lifetime highs. But अगर small cap index में देखा जाए, that is almost 2,000 points away from its lifetime high. 19,200 odd is the lifetime high for the small cap index, and currently we are at around 17,400 odd levels over there. So clearly there is intensive selling pressure देखने को मिल रहा है small cap index में in comparison to the large cap indices. करंट जंक्चर पे अगर निफ्टी का चार्ट एनालाइज किया जाए, सो यू कैन क्लियरली सी लास्ट वेडनेसडे को जो हमने लो मारा था, दैट इज 25,840 का जो लेवल है, वो बहुत ही क्रूशियल लेवल है निफ्टी के लिए, बिकॉज फ्रॉम देयर वी हैड विटनेस्ड द एक्चुअल मूव टुवर्ड्स द लाइफ टाइम हाइज, एंड टिल द टाइम वी आर अबाउट 25,800 25,840 हमारा व्यू पॉजिटिव है. It may be a bit of a challenge currently taking into consider today's price action, but we still have a positive outlook on the market, and we believe that if 26,300 is taken out in the near term, we could continue the momentum towards 26,500 followed by 26,800 from a near term perspective. The main sector जो हमें लग रहे हैं कि इस रैली में पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं, that is the NBFC space, the auto space and the banking space. अगले जो 6 महीने हैं, we are positive on this particular space, that is the banking, NBFC and the auto pack. So now coming to the concept of relative strength analysis, ये बहुत ही important concept है. It's a very simple thing. It is just you're taking, I'll just go to the formula part of it. So relative strength is just a financial analysis tool which is used to compare the performance of a stock against a benchmark index. The analysis helps identify which security is performing better or worse than the benchmark. See, बहुत बार कैसा होता है, आपके पास लिमिटेड कैपिटल है, 1 लाख 2 लाख है, बट द नंबर ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज आर मल्टीफोल्ड. आपको समझ नहीं आता कि कौन से एसेट क्लास में पैसा डालना चाहिए या कौन से स्टॉक में पैसा डालना चाहिए. एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ गिव्स यू अ वेरी गुड अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि कौन से सेक्टर में या कौन से स्टॉक में आउट परफॉर्मेंस है मार्केट में. It is basically telling you if you have 3 4 options, which is the best option to select from a short term perspective. So the goal of relative strength investing is to buy high and to sell even higher. That is basically momentum investing जो हम लोग कहते हैं. Momentum investing is the basic concept of relative strength also. Relative strength investors assume that the trend outperforms and will continue to outperform. सो ये बेसिक फॉर्मूला है रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ का. हम लोग क्या कर रहे हैं, बेसिकली वी आर टेकिंग द क्लोजिंग प्राइस ऑफ वन पर्टिकुलर स्टॉक और एन एसेट क्लास एंड यू डिवाइड इट बाय एन अदर एसेट क्लास जिसको आपको कंपेयर करना है, एंड देन यू डू इट ऑन अ डे टू डे रेगुलर बेसिस. व्हाट इज द फाइनल आउटकम दैट यू गेट ऑन अ डे टू डे बेसिस, उसका हम लोग एक चार्ट प्लॉट करते हैं. दैट इज द बेसिक एंड सिंपल अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ अ रेशियो चार्ट. रेशियो चार्ट का बेसिक पर्पस है to identify outperformance within a given stock sector or the entire global market में भी आपको अगर identify करना है whether India is outperforming or underperforming, you just basically compare it with a benchmark and then you see whether we are outperforming it or underperforming it. सो दिस हेल्प्स यू टू आइडेंटिफाई, दोनों तरफ के ट्रेंड आपको आइडेंटिफाई करने को मिलता है. दैट इज द बुलिश ट्रेंड आल्सो गेट्स आइडेंटिफाइड थ्रू relative rotation or relative strength, and as well as a bearish trend also gets identified. So ये निफ्टी मिड कैप 100 का चार्ट है जिसमें आप क्लियरली देख सकते हैं आज भी थोड़ा सेलिंग प्रेशर आया था. नाउ विल जस्ट आइडेंटिफाई इट थ्रू द रेशियो, द रिलेटिव स्ट्रेंथ, दैट इज हाउ मिड कैप इंडेक्स इज डूइंग एंड हाउ द स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स इज डूइंग. व्हाट आई वांट टू क्लियरली टेल इज, भले आज थोड़ा ज्यादा सेलिंग आया है, द मिड कैप इंडेक्स इज स्टिल डूइंग मच बेटर कंपेयर टू द स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स. स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स इज एक्चुअली फेसिंग extreme selling pressure. Over there it has breached its the long term average as well. 200 day का moving average जो है, the index is clearly trading below that as well. So the next slide, this is a slide of the current Nifty mid cap index का जो chart है, it's the chart of that, and this is how basically a ratio chart looks. It is a normal chart itself. टेक्निकल एनालिसिस के जो भी आपके पैरामीटर्स है, आपको जो एनालिसिस करना है, यू कैन अप्लाई इट टू अ रेशियो चार्ट एज वेल. जो चार्ट पैटर्न्स, जो आरएसआई, जो मोमेंटम इंडिकेटर्स, सारे के सारे आप एक रेशियो चार्ट पे भी अप्लाई कर सकते हो, एंड यू कैन आइडेंटिफाई वेदर दैट पर्टिकुलर चार्ट इज गिविंग यू अ पॉजिटिव बुलिश आउटलुक और अ बेरिश आउटलुक. ये चार्ट देख के आपको क्लियरली लग रहा है, सी देयर इज अ साइडवेज कंसोलिडेशन, इट इज नीदर बुलिश नॉर बेरिश. दैट मीन्स द मिड कैप इंडेक्स हैज मोर और लेस मूव्ड इन डायरेक्शन विद द निफ्टी मेन लार्ज कैप इंडेक्स जो है उसके साथ ही चला है. But now if we come to the small cap index, you will clearly see the pain point over there. ये small cap index का chart है, आप clearly देख सकते हो that the index has given a clean breakdown below its key 200 day moving average. जो last line है, that is the 200 day moving average, and we have given a breakdown below that. And now we are trading close to the psychological mark of 17,000. तो ये अगले 2-3 दिन काफी क्रूशियल है स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स के लिए. बट यू कैन क्लियरली सी द डिफरेंस इन द चार्ट स्ट्रक्चर. जो मिड कैप का चार्ट है एंड स्मॉल कैप का चार्ट है उनमें बहुत अंतर है, एंड क्लियरली देयर इज सिग्निफिकेंट सेलिंग प्रेशर विच इज बीइंग सीन ओवर हियर. सो ये अगर आप सॉफ्टवेयर यूज अगर करते हो, ट्रेडिंग व्यू करके सॉफ्टवेयर है, इट इज अ फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट सॉफ्टवेयर ऑल्सो. इट्स अ वेरी यूजफुल चार्टिंग टूल. सो देयर यू कैन बेसिकली कंपेयर इट. आपको सिर्फ इंडेक्स का, पहले इंडेक्स का नाम लिखना है एंड देन यू पुट दी डिवाइड इंडिकेटर एंड यू मीन्स आपको जिस जिस इंडेक्स से कंपेयर करना है यू कैन कंपेयर इट. सो हियर वी हैव टेकन द निफ्टी स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स एंड देन वी हैव कंपेयर्ड इट विद निफ्टी. So this is how you basically do it on a very simple charting tool. So this is how the chart structure looks, that is of the small cap index, Nifty small cap 100 divided by Nifty का अगर ratio chart देखें, this is the chart structure. So this is basically the closing price, day to day closing price, you divide it by the closing price of Nifty, and this is how you will get a line chart. The line chart is the best method to compare any asset class comparison अगर आपको करना है. The line chart is the best tool. तो आप क्लियरली ये चार्ट में देख सकते हैं, द स्मॉल कैप इंडेक्स is in a clear downtrend in comparison to Nifty. Nifty is trading closer towards lifetime highs, but the small cap index is about almost 2000 points away from its lifetime highs. Even during the current move in the market, small cap index failed to register a fresh lifetime high. Mid cap index में हमने fresh lifetime high देखा, लेकिन small cap index में we failed to register a fresh lifetime high over there. And post that, we have witnessed an extremely sharp correction of nearly 2000 points in the last 10 to 15 trading sessions. सो रेशियो चार्ट इज नॉट जस्ट फॉर इंडेक्स. आप कोई भी स्टॉक को भी कंपेयर कर सकते हो निफ्टी के साथ. दीज आर जस्ट फ्रॉम एन एग्जाम्पल पर्सपेक्टिव. दे आर स्लाइटली चार्ट्स फ्रॉम द प्रीवियस और स्लाइटली ओल्डर एग्जाम्पल्स, बट फ्रॉम एन understanding perspective, I wanted to highlight and give you clean examples. So I have taken the comparison. So on the left hand side we have Nifty, right hand side we have Reliance Industries. So you can see even within that दोनों का chart same direction में है. So that's where the benefit of it comes. Even though two asset classes or two stocks may be moving in the same direction, still the ratio chart gives you the outperformance, indicating कि कौन सा उसमें भी better perform कर रहा है. So that is a very useful method to analyze the chart. तो भले ही प्रीवियस चार्ट में दोनों निफ्टी और रिलायंस ऊपर के डायरेक्शन में जा रहे थे, उसमें भी जो निफ्टी रिलायंस का स्पीड जो था और चेंज था, परसेंटेज चेंज, इट वाज मच लार्जर कंपेयर्ड टू निफ्टी, एंड दैट्स व्हाई वी हैव द करंट रेशियो चार्ट जिसमें क्लीन ब्रेकआउट है, एंड द स्टॉक इज एक्सपेक्टेड टू कंटिन्यू द मोमेंटम ऑन द पॉजिटिव साइड. लाइकवाइज अगर आपको कोई एक बेरिश एसेट क्लास या कोई स्टॉक को भी कंपेयर करना है, यू कैन क्लियरली डू इट. सो व्हाट यू डू इज यू डू अ कंपैरिजन बिटवीन टाटा मोटर्स एंड निफ्टी. तो अगर आपको कंपेयर करना है कि कितना अंडर परफॉर्मेंस है, दैट इज वेयर यू विल गेट इट. और यू कैन डू इट विद द सेक्टर एज वेल. सो यू कैन कंपेयर टाटा मोटर्स विद द ऑटो इंडेक्स एज वेल. उधर भी आपको क्लीन पता चल जाएगा कि देयर इज अंडर परफॉर्मेंस विद इन द ऑटो स्पेस ऑल्सो. टाटा मोटर्स हैज अंडर परफॉर्म. And if you compare it with a broader index also, there also Tata Motors has largely underperformed. So ये अगर देखा जाए, this is the ratio chart for Tata Motors divided by Nifty, and then you can cleanly see it. दिस इज फॉर another asset class also. अगर आपको कोई एक दूसरे asset class के साथ भी अगर कंपेयर करना है, so this is basically gold versus Nifty. In dollar terms, gold is compared with Nifty, and you can clearly see after a very long consolidation phase, gold has given a breakout and has continued its positive momentum. Whenever there is a bit of uncertainty in the global markets, gold as an asset class generally tends to do good. And during the last few weeks or months, we have seen that gold has done phenomenally well along with silver prices. So this is the long-term chart of ratio chart of gold versus Nifty. Post the bottoming out that we saw, we have witnessed a very good rally in the prices of gold. So you can make use of the ratio chart not just for Indian markets or a particular index versus Nifty. You can compare any asset class with any asset class, and it helps you to understand कि कौन से sectors में या कौन से asset class में outperformance है from a short term perspective. Another very interesting or important concept to understand is market breadth analysis. So market breadth is also a very interesting and important tool to measure and identify कि कितने सारे stocks एक particular sector के outperform कर रहे हैं from a short term perspective. So identifying this helps in sector rotation कि कौन से sectors अभी flavor में है, कौन से sector के stocks outperform कर सकते हैं from a short term perspective. That we understand through market breadth analysis. confirm market strength or weakness, and it also helps as a great trading tool. Identifying false breakouts as well. जो सेक्टर के अगर सिर्फ एक दो स्टॉक चल रहे हैं, then there is a good chance of a false breakout or a breakdown. So अगर सेक्टर के सारे स्टॉक्स चल रहे हैं, then it is a better thing to trade on those days in those particular counters. अगर आईटी के सारे स्टॉक्स 2-3% ऊपर है, then it is a very good chance that Tech Mahindra or a stock like HCL Tech will do good on a day. But if it is only Tech Mahindra which is doing good and all the other stocks are under pressure, then you should be a bit wary or careful on those particular days. So this is how sector rotation works. You basically are identifying कि बैंक निफ्टी के कितने सारे स्टॉक्स शॉर्ट टर्म मूविंग एवरेजेस के ऊपर ट्रेड कर रहे हैं या फिर एक मीडियम टर्म एवरेज के ऊपर ट्रेड कर रहे हैं. सो दिस इज शेयर्ड इन आवर डेली रिपोर्ट एज वेल. जो डेली मार्केट मिरर रिपोर्ट है, जो हम लोग सारे टेलीग्राम चैनल्स पे भी पब्लिश करते हैं, हमारे वेबसाइट पे भी जाता है, एंड वी शेयर इट विद ऑल आवर क्लाइंट्स एज वेल. सो दिस इज बेसिकली टेलिंग यू कि शॉर्ट टर्म में कितने सारे एक पर्टिकुलर सेक्टर के स्टॉक्स शॉर्ट टर्म एवरेज के ऊपर ट्रेड कर रहे हैं. सो यू कैन क्लियरली सी वेयर द स्ट्रेंथ इज विद इन द मार्केट एज वेल. सो इससे पता चल जाता है कि आपको अगर ट्रेडिंग भी करना है, शॉर्ट टर्म ट्रेडिंग भी करना है, कौन से सेक्टर्स में आपको यू शुड कंसिडर डूइंग और इन्वेस्टिंग योर मनी, बिकॉज दोज आर द सेक्टर्स विच आर करेंटली इन स्ट्रेंथ कंपेयर टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द इंडाइसेस. अगर आज का अगर देखा जाए, दिस इज चार्ट विच आई हैव टेकन राइट एट द एंड ऑफ द मार्केट. So if you take the Nifty 500 index, there is just about 16.9% of the stocks are trading above their 20 short-term average, that is 20 simple moving average, SMA that we call simple moving average. At present, Nifty 500 में से सिर्फ 16% means 16% of the stocks are trading above their short-term average, clearly giving you that the market breadth is not that strong. If the market breadth was strong, we would have almost 70 to 75% of the stocks would be trading above their simple moving average. And अगर चार्ट पे भी अगर देख सकते हो कि the index is making higher tops, but the percentage of stocks making a fresh high or trading closer above their 20 SMA is significantly less. जो हम लोग डाइवर्जेंस जो कॉन्सेप्ट है टेक्निकल एनालिसिस में, you can clearly see it in this particular example, with the index gradually moving higher, while the number of stocks which are making a fresh lifetime high or trading above their short term averages is gradually declining. So that's also a very good indication that there is no market strength. Market ka breadth jo hai, it is concentrated towards the top 15-20 stocks in the market, and uske alawa there is no major rally which is being seen in the market. Yeah, so that's a wrap of today's edition of the webinar. Thank you to all our friends for having taken the time out. I just wanted to explain this concept. It's a simple thing, but it holds a very good significance. जब भी आप ट्रेडिंग कर रहे हो, आपको पता चल जाता है कि कौन से सेक्टर्स में आपको फोकस करना चाहिए, कौन से सेक्टर्स में मोमेंटम है, एंड दी सेक्टर्स विच आर लाइकली टू आउट परफॉर्म. Yeah, so now one by one we could start with the questions. So ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग कौन से टाइम फ्रेम यूज करना चाहिए? सी फॉर ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग इट डिपेंड्स. आप स्कैल्पिंग अगर कर रहे हो, दैट इज इंट्राडे ट्रेडिंग आप अगर कर रहे हो, जनरली वी मेक यूज ऑफ द 5 मिनट टाइम फ्रेम. मैं अगर चार्ट्स देख रहा रहता हूँ ऑप्शन का भी और निफ्टी का भी, द टाइम फ्रेम दैट आई जनरली यूज इज द 5 मिनट टाइम फ्रेम, बिकॉज इफ यू यूज 1 minute or a 2 minute time frame multiple times, there is a chance of a whipsaw, that is a false movement that can come about, false breakout or a breakdown that can come about. So the ideal time frame, it depends comfort to comfort for traders, but ideally the time frame which is decent enough to trade or scalp is a 5 minute window on the daily time frame. That's a good starting point to consider. Yeah, so I get the point of Siddharth Malik. काफी सारे the mutual funds have their own rules regarding their flow of funds. At what point they are comfortable taking funds from their client. So at the current juncture, there may be I am not aware of it, but there may be few restrictions from the mutual funds regarding lump sum investment. That we have seen it multiple times. It is not new. Whenever the markets are in a slightly elevated levels, generally we have seen it. But now you're telling that there may be few restrictions. I'll have to check about it. So if you want me to actually show the comparison, I can do that as well. Tata Steel. So what we can do is, so I can try it out. One second to show actually. Yeah, so I'll just try to quickly show you the comparison how you can make use of a ratio chart. So this is a basic comparison of Tata Steel versus Nifty. In terms of that, also you can clearly see Tata Steel, after outperforming to a large extent, has come under a bit of pressure in the last few trading sessions. You can clearly see a breakdown in the trend of Tata Steel versus uh, Nifty. What you can do is, within that also you can compare Tata Steel with the metal index also. It's not just that you have to compare it with, one second. So if you take, so you can see within the metal space also Tata Steel has relatively underperformed. So of the last few trading sessions, we have seen a bit of underperformance from Tata Steel in comparison to the price action in the entire market. So this is how you can basically do a comparison. You can compare any asset class with any stock. So this is basically Tata Steel in comparison to Nifty. Then you can compare it with the metal index. Likewise, you can compare Tata Motors with the Nifty. You can compare Tata Motors with the auto index and identify which stocks are doing good, which stocks are underperforming. Yeah, so I agree that the advance decline ratio of this month is very bad. Will the markets make a bottom? That's anyone's guess. See, as traders, generally we very rarely do. We tend to make predictions. We generally tend to react to the actual moment. See, because today, अगर किसी ने बोला रहता कि 250 पॉइंट्स आज निफ्टी जा सकता है, no one would have believed. Looking at Friday's price action, looking at Friday's chart structure of Nifty, wherein we were just trading close just about 150 points away from the lifetime high, and to witness such a sharp correction today. Today's correction mainly has to do with the sell-off which has come about in the broader market. That is, the Nifty small cap index is actually the pain point which has brought about the selling pressure. Nifty to a large extent is doing good itself. We are still trading closer towards the lifetime highs, but the real pain is in the broader markets, and till that time we could see a bit of pressure in the market. Really, today's sell-off, like I mentioned, is more to do with the selling which has come about in the small cap space. Many times, what happens is there is a margin trigger which comes about. अगर small cap index, mid cap index का price chart अगर देखा जाए, those stocks are down almost 5-4%. There are so many stocks over there which are down 3 to 5% on a regular basis. That brings about general market pressure, which brings about margin based selling. And then as collateral, some of the time shares, frontline counters also, shares get sold off to manage the risk which is there in the small cap space. That is one reason which we can think of. And even if you see the FI data in terms of selling, FIs have been constant sellers. That particular figure actually is a bit misleading, because since 2021 itself, FIs have been sellers in the equity market, that is the secondary market. So that's not one of the primary reasons, but there is no major support which is coming about from the FIs in terms of buying activity. We'll have to see what is their figure today. But अगर पूरा December series का data देखा जाए, more or less they have been sellers. So you make use of the how to find reversals or stocks of an asset class. You basically make the chart, ratio chart जो हम लोग बोलते हैं, you make use of it in the same technical this only. So आपको लग रहा है कि there is a double bottom or there is a classical technical pattern reversal of the ratio chart, that is one asset class in comparison to another. That means that first asset class is showing outperformance. So that means there is going ahead also, there is going to be outperformance expected from that particular counter. The same technical में जो हम लोग reversals patterns ढूंढते हैं, the same thing is applied on the ratio chart as well. So a downward declining trend line breakout or a classical technical chart pattern breakout, these are things which we are trying to identify and find out stocks or asset classes which can outperform from a short term perspective. Which stock can benefit from Indigo crisis? I don't think there is any stock which can benefit from the Indigo crisis. The reason for this is, see how many stocks do we have in the aviation space? It is just Air India, SpiceJet, which is there within the listed space. I mean, in that also we do not have Air India, which is there in the listed space. That comes under the holding of Tata Sons, I presume. But that particular space you cannot trade it. So the Indigo is the only thing. If you are bearish that Indigo is not going to come out from its crisis, then shorting the particular counter is the option. But it is such a large monopoly type play, it is bound to recover. It's just a short term phase where the stock has gone into a correction, and there is no way that you would consider to go long on SpiceJet at the current juncture to benefit from this current crisis, because that stock is facing problems of its own. So it's better to avoid going long on some other aviation counter just because short term Indigo is facing a bit of problem. So there's a challenge over there. Our aviation space is purely dominated by a few stocks, and in that also Indigo holds a majority of it. Almost 60 to 65% is dominated by Indigo itself. Yeah, so telecom as a space, we have duopoly, but there has never been any major crisis type situation. This is the first time also in aviation we have never seen a crisis type situation. This is the first time anything of this sort is being seen of, and it is a bit of a challenge. But we there is definitely the government, the aviation sector will take note of it, and going forward, many times crisis leads to better solutions. That's what the Indian problem has always been. Whenever we face some major crisis, we come out with brilliant solutions. So hopefully this time also some of the good minds get together and come about with a positive solution. So there is no 100% way that you can tell that a particular stock has made a bottom. You have to take a position once the chart structure gives you the indication of a reversal. you have to have a bit of understanding of technical analysis, wherein you have read that these are classical technical reversal patterns. And once you are understanding that, see, in technical analysis, it's a game of probability. There is no sure shot method which tells you that this is the bottom of a stock, this is the reversal. You can make use of moving averages, you can make use of trend lines, you can make use of classical chart patterns, you can make use of ratio charts. All these things are readily available for you. So when a stock starts actually showing momentum on the upside with decent amount of volume post a significant phase of consolidation, that's when you have to take a position. And there is no way to get to know that that's the bottom. You have to take the position when your setup gives you the signal, and you trade it with the required stop loss or the risk management setup, and you trade it or with a particular stop loss. Which sector can benefit from the president's visit? So one sector which we have always had a positive relationship with China, with Russia, is the defense space. But these are all things which generally come to us lamplight only for a short period of time. I don't think uh, trading should done on news which is readily available on the media. You should do a bit of study on your own as well, because if we tell defense, the entire world is looking in that direction itself. Everyone is just tracking the defense stocks, and if for 1 2 days there may be a move, and then you will be trapped on the short side again, because the major large players are also tracking and trying to trap the retail players in this manner itself. They also know that everyone is playing out the news. So generally tend to avoid trading based on short term news. The stocks may be in flavor for 1 or 2 trading sessions, and post that the stock again witnesses a price correction. The reason for this is, I'm saying, defense will benefit. We If we have these type things take time. It is a defense deal will be agreed on between both the countries. The situation will pan out over a phase of 4 to 5 years. There will be a short term burst based on the announcement of the news, but for it to actually play out in terms of numbers on the balance sheet of the company, it takes a long phase of time. So definitely, if you are an investing type investor, then you can react to these type news. But if you are a trader, it is better to avoid trading based on short-term news in the market. Yeah, nuclear fuel supply, yes, that is also a space, but that technology is constantly evolving. Over there also you have hydrogen, you have nuclear fuel. It's very tough to tell where we'll be setting up these plants, because many times nuclear plants also there is a lot of opposition to it. Very few areas we are able to set up large nuclear plants. So NTPC definitely is one company, if you take it from the power space, because power, we have a positive outlook. But you should be confident on the stocks that you select from the power space. It's not more to do with nuclear power or solar power. In general, power has a lot of demand going ahead. If you take the AI boom, and if you see how the rest of the world has reacted, see, it is we also have to react to how global markets have played out. A lot of stocks from the power space abroad also have done well. That's mainly to do with the power requirements. See, to run large gigawatts of centers, which data centers that you say, they require tremendous amount of power, and that space has done well in the global markets. And definitely, when we see huge demand for data centers in India, that time we'll see stocks which are related to transmission, the likes transmission sector, the likes of oils which are required for the transmission sector, something like an Apar Industries, something from the power space, the likes of Adani, the likes of Reliance Industries. All these companies will do good, but they are all long-term stories which will play out in the market. The one stock when it comes to rare earth minerals, generally it is GMDC itself is always in the limelight. That is one stock which is coming top of my mind. But do not, these are stocks which take time. If you see the volatility of GMDC, it's 100 to 150 point movement which comes about in 1 month itself. So you should be able to digest that type of volatility if you are playing this particular segment. and it has already rallied from almost 100 It has now come closer towards 600 levels in just a year and a half. So that is one stock which is there, and you can get in touch with our fundamental team as well, so we will be in a better position to recommend stocks from this particular space. Today, I don't think there is anything which is left out to say that why pharma has come down. The entire market is down. If Nifty is down 200 points, there is no room to be a safeguard. The only sector which relatively did well, and uh, today, if you see, there was hardly any sector. Just IT was one breathing space that we got about. Other than that, there was hardly any room for positive sentiment. I don't feel there is a question from Shankar Sharma. Don't get dejected by one or two trading sessions. See, you have to take trading as a long term test match. If you take it as a short term T20 game, it's a very challenging thing. One or two trades going wrong, understanding that the markets are in a bit of consolidation phase is a part and parcel. When the markets recover, you will definitely do good. See, take trading in terms of probability. That's what we always tell. Don't take 1 to 10 trades which go wrong as don't extrapolate it and feel that all your trades are going to go wrong. Over a trade of 100 to 200 trades, that's when you come to know your real test as a trader. And if you are successful in 200 to 50 trades, then you know that you have an edge, and definitely you can make a decent amount of money based on the capital that you have deployed in the long run. So don't get dejected by one or two hard. It's tough for the entire market. It's not just for you that today's session is tough. For the entire markets, it's a very tough session. So there is a question: US team is likely to visit. So definitely there is positive talk. Even our government has been stating that before 2025 comes to an end, uh, we should have a positive trade deal with the US. What is the actual tariffs that are implied on? That is what is most important, because we'll be always in competition. See, it's not just the tariffs get reduced. We have to compete with the rest of the markets as well. So if our tariffs come down to 25, whether 25 is a good deal for us or not, that also has to be checked in the long run. So 25 still will be definitely much better compared to where we are sitting now. Today we are sitting at almost 50% tariffs, which is absolutely impossible to do a good deal with the US. So hopefully we come out with with a positive deal with the US, and hopefully it cheers the market, because a lot of domestic cues have been done. See, the RBI has done a great job in terms of cutting aggressively the interest rate cuts. Even this 25 basis last basis point cut was not majorly factored in the market. It was seen in the price action as well on Friday. It was slightly a surprise move which came about, and the rate sensitive stocks took it in a positive manner. A lot of rate cuts have come about. Last 3 4 RBI meetings have been extremely positive. So this one overhang, if it gets over, we definitely should see the results coming much better for the companies in 2027. So now we are in financial year 26, 27. We should start seeing better results if a positive deal comes about. So there is a question regarding NBFC stocks. I would like you to get once in touch with the fundamental team, because in terms of valuation, in terms of long-term investing, I would not be the right person. In terms of NBFC counters, which have a good pathway, that is the likes of L&T Finance has a good pathway, Shriram Finance has a good pathway, Bajaj Finance. These are counters which are the leaders in the market, and it's better to stick with the leaders itself. From the auto space, current juncture, if you see, you have to have a longer term vision. We have Mahindra and Mahindra, which has already rallied significantly, but that is one counter which is actually showing strength during the current rally. There is good demand for its vehicles as well. It's coming out aggressively with new launches. So that is one stock. If you have a long term horizon, you can consider investing in. Yeah, so there is a question regarding Siddharth Malik as well. Invite the concerned mutual fund teams as well. Definitely, we'll take this particular session, I mean, suggestion as well. Uh, So I think that that's a wrap. I don't see any further questions at the current juncture. Thank you to all our friends for having taken the time out and having attended today's session. Thank you so much. We have multiple sessions during this particular month. My colleague Ashwin also will be taking sessions. He takes the mid-market session as well. That is at 12:30 in the afternoon. So if you have any stock-specific queries, you can definitely join in over there, and you can ask and clear out your queries. Thank you. Thank you so much to all our friends.